course, going forward, the INB Minister Arun Jaitley will have to take a final call on the matter. But in the meanwhile, there is no immediate move as far as revoking Sun TV's licenses are concerned. Back to you.
Earlier we spoke to Sun TV's management, the CFO of the company, who refuted all allegations, saying that a cancellation could be lethal because it would mean a complete shutdown of the channel's operations. Here's what he told us.
I must make it abundantly clear that we have not received any communication whatsoever from any arm of the government. We are only hoping that it doesn't reach this kind of an abrupt end, because this is a huge channel which is watched by almost 54 million homes in South India, by 250 million Indians and several South Indians all over the country and all over the world. And in the interest of natural justice, I would at least expect that the government gives us a fair hearing before it reaches a decision to shut us down. I don't think Sun TV has ever committed any breach of law. We've always paid our taxes on time. We've been in full compliance of the laws of the land. So there is absolutely no reason why, suddenly we should be seen as a security risk.
But as a result of this bit of news and the kind of hammering that the stock has got, we have had analysts who've come and expressed their concern on the stock. Khushbu joins us with more of what analysts have made of the news around Sun TV. Khushbu.
Yes, there are definite analyst concerns since the stock has plunged almost the most in 4 years. The analysts believe that if the security clearance to 33 TV channels is rejected, the channels could go off air and also could lead to cancellations of broadcasting license. Also, the stock has seen some pressure since Q4 was a subdued quarter, and also the subscription revenue was lowest since 10 years. Also, analysts believe that the advertisement revenue growth will continue to see weakness. Also, the sports business has been making losses. Pressure could be seen in the Tamil Nadu markets. And lastly, overall, if you see the operation performance has also been weak, that will also be a key factor. And they also believe that the slow progress in the digitization could also impact the stock. Back to you.
Right, thanks so much for that, Khushbu. We will be talking about Nestle and the larger piece in the FMCG space, but let's get Vijay's take on this. Vijay, what did you make of what happened in Sun TV and the nervousness around that? The stock was down sharply. It recovered towards the later part, but continues to be extremely weak.
Well, anything coming into the regulatory ambit, it's very difficult to comment on the stock. So it's not only the TV channels they're talking about 40 odd FM channels as well. So it would be a big blow to Sun TV if that happens, if this doesn't. Because I think that there's a political angle also to it, apart from whatever regulatory angle. This would be sorted out. My sense is that, if this comes back, there would be a sharp recovery in the Sun Pharma stock as well, Sun TV stock as well. So, anyway, we have to look, wait and watch what the INB ministry does with this company.
Sure. Let's shift the spotlight, so to say, on the fallout of the Maggi safety scare, which is spreading. The FSSAI today ordered a nationwide test of all noodles, pasta and macaroni products. The results of the test will be available on the 19th of June. My colleague Shilpa joins us for more. Shilpa, explain the FSSAI's order and the ramifications it can have across, because we saw a lot of stocks reacting to this today.
Yes, well, FSSAI has ordered tests for all noodles, pasta and macaroni products. It has said that the safety of all products in these categories were not assessed. It had only issued conditional nod to 7 companies for noodles, pasta and macaroni, and Nestle India was one of these companies. FSSAI has ordered food commissioners to recall, remove and destroy all non-compliant products and send a report on the action taken by the 19th of June. And there are some big names here that will be tested, like ITC, Indonesin, GSK Consumer Healthcare, Ruchi International and the CG Group. To break it down further, the brand names like ITC's Sunfeast GP noodles, 3 variants of YY noodles, bhujia and chicken snacks, 10 variants of foodles of GSK Consumer Healthcare, top ramen of Indonesin have come under the scanner. In fact, we have exclusively spoken to Dr. Shiv Kumar, who is the Joint Director of Karnataka's FSTA. Let's listen in to what he has to say.
We are testing other brands also. So far we had about 26 samples of Maggi. Now from today we are getting samples of other brands also. We have 6 or 7 brands in our state. So we have Nor from Unilever, Yippee from Sunfeast, 123 noodles and Surya noodles that's manufactured in Bangalore. In general, we randomly selected the sample, and the lead content is almost 0.053.
A lot of stocks reacted to that bit of news, to be fair. Of course, Nestle continued to be down for the umpteenth day with a lot of selling pressure seen out there. But even GSK Consumer Group and, of course, ITC bucked the trend, but ITC has been seeing such a steep fall lately that there seems to be some bit of bottom to that stock. GSK Consumer Healthcare down about 4.5% in trade. Vijay, this is also a story which is brewing. It's becoming bigger and bigger as we speak because the probe is definitely spreading. What's your call on FMCG per se? Because this is also a segment which is the worst impacted because of any kind of a question mark on monsoon. So it was already with a little bit of nervousness that we were going into the monsoons as far as this is concerned, and now you have another additional issue out here.
Well, definitely, the heat has turned on all the FMCG counters, so to say, and Indians have in the last couple of decades started gorging on noodles as if it has become roti and sabzi. So it is kind of a staple for a large chunk of population. So definitely, as the sales get hit, I was reading in the newspapers today that overall noodle sales have come down by 80% in the last few weeks. So it would be a really big hit for all the major companies, and that's why we are seeing a crack of 3 to 5%, 6% on the counters. Nestle, I believe that if they're able to set their house in order, if the stock maybe corrects to about 4,500, 4,600, it would be a great valuation. Would be a great place to enter that stock with the long-term perspective. But for now, yes, until the reports are out for all the companies, I'm fairly skeptic. If at all something goes wrong with ITC, we can see a major crack again in the counter.
Right, thanks for that. We'll head into a short break. On the other side, we'll talk about themes and whether there is anything that you can bet on in a market which is so nervous. We'll come back with that, and of course also the mid-cap movers. Stay tuned. And the Sensex grinding lower and the Nifty closing at the lowest level in 2015. But outside the indices itself, the index, that is the benchmark indices, Nifty and Sensex, there was a lot to talk about, a lot of stocks to watch out for. And Khushbu is here with a list of all the mid-cap stocks that buzzed in trade today. Khushbu.
Yes, let's begin with the gainers, where Bhushan Steel debt worries eases on the back of debt restructuring. Also, highest volumes seen, volumes highest since over 6 months in today's session. We also have Nevli Lignite, where NTPL, a joint venture of Nevli Lignite, establishes a 1,000 megawatt coal thermal based power plant at Tuticorin unit, and this unit is to start commercial operations soon. We also have Optus Circuit, where the unit has won about $23 million against Zoll and also targets new markets like Middle East, Asia and America. 2 new products are to be launched, are lined up in the radar. On the negative side, we have Adani Enterprises, which sees pressure. Pressure continues even post the demerger. We also have Canara Bank, which hit a 52-week low. And lastly, Wockhardt, which recalls 200 bottles of blood pressure drug in US. Back to you.
Right, that was a quick listing of all the stocks that moved in trade in the mid-cap side, but IDBI also cracked in trade after Moody's raised concerns on the PSU's asset quality. Shraddha is here with more on that. Shraddha.
Moody's has downgraded IDBI Bank's standalone credit rating from Ba3 to B1, citing asset quality concerns, and that's one reason why we are seeing that sharp cut in the stock price, and weak markets aren't helping either. In fact, it is interesting to note that just last week we had seen Standard & Poor downgrade Bank of India, its credit rating profile just last week. So probably it's just this concern that's playing out there. If you look at IDBI Bank, its total impaired loan ratio stood at about 14.7% in FY15 versus a 12.2% in FY14. So a sharp jump there. And Moody's has also said that they believe that that rate of new impaired loan formation will remain high for the bank. Another reason for their concern has been the capital. If you look at the Tier 1 capital ratio, that stands at about 7.29%, and that is low on an absolute basis. Additionally, the bank's capacity to raise external core equity capital is said to be bleak, and also its internal capital generation capacity seems to be constrained on account of higher credit costs and lower net interest margins. Also, IDBI Bank hasn't received any capital infusion for the government this year, as the bank failed to meet the government's profitability threshold. And third, if we talk in general, given the fact that the debt servicing metrics for the Indian corporate remain weak, now exposure to such corporate is likely to be another source for incremental or additional asset quality concerns. So more or less all of these playing out for the bank for the downgrade.
Right, no surprises there. Many of these bank stocks have been under pressure, and IDBI kind of faced the brunt of it, down 4% in trade today. Which in a market like this, there are those who believe that some stocks offer great value because they've been beaten down so badly. What's your strategy, and what are you telling your clients to do at this juncture? We'll talk about the themes that you're betting on, but first up, what kind of strategy should one be adopting right now?
Well, I would like to, reiterate, I've been, talking about this for quite some time. Markets in a long-term bull run, they also correct. So if the Nifty has corrected about 1,000 odd points, I think it is definitely was in store. It always happens when the markets get overpriced, so there are reasons market finds to correct itself, and so that the valuations are reasonable. So I think that the valuations would get reasonable, and as I mentioned that I'm expecting markets to come down to 7,800. So I always talk about companies which have a longer term perspective, which have reasonable comfortable debt on the books, and they show profitability. So few stocks I would like to talk about is Sun Pharma Advance, Sun Pharmaceuticals as a company. I like Capit Technologies as a company. I like Sterlite Technologies, one can invest. I like Dabur and Marico. So these stories, I keep on telling. BBTC, Bombay Burma Trading Company, and Britannia stocks, which are good enough to enter in any kind of correction. So these stories we keep on talking about to our clients, and if at all we get these stocks in a correction, I think that there are great stories. Even I believe that a company like ITC, say everything goes on perfectly all right, if the noodles and all the the investigation which is going on the noodles piece. So if everything goes right, I think that if you get ITC around 290, it's a great pick.
Many of the stocks that you've mentioned, one could argue are already expensive. They're the classic defensives, which are, be it pharmaceuticals, which have had quite a run up. If you look at it, I think Lupin continues to be among the top three return givers in terms of this year to date. But there would be those who argue that those stories have already played out. It's the beaten down stocks where there seems to be no hope that could give you the multi-bagger kind of returns. Is there always a risk towards veering towards that side when there is this kind of market where it's a falling knife and nobody knows how far it's going to go down? Do investors make mistakes over there?
Well, definitely investors keep on making mistakes. I think that not even investors, even the best brains in the markets, they make mistakes. And again and again, it is reiterated that market is a great teacher, and nobody is above the markets. So you can go wrong any day with any stock, so to say. And any day Satyam kind of a thing can happen, and the stock can tank, can go to anywhere. Maybe if a stock like Bhopal can correct 25-30% in a day.
Yeah, let me rephrase my question. My question is that could there be value in the beaten down stocks that we are missing out right now because everybody is looking at a safe haven like a pharmaceutical or FMCG counter?
Well, definitely, I was talking about the IT companies. We've seen the serious correction happening in all the IT majors. So I talked about companies like Sterlite Technologies which have corrected. I've talked about companies like Capit Technologies which have corrected quite a lot. Even if you look at a company like BBTC from the high of 550, it was trading at below 400 odd levels. So I think that these were great times to get into that stocks. And of course, if you look at the public sector banking stocks, so some of them are trading even below their book value. A Bank of Baroda or a PNB, I won't be hesitant to buy. If they correct further 5-10%, I think that would be a great time to start accumulating these stocks. So no doubt, when they get beaten out and the daylights are beaten out of them, it's a good time to buy. Overall, these banks are not going anywhere, so to say. So overall, if you look at these valuations, I think the valuations are quite convincing.
Right, Vijay, we leave it over there. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, that's a quick look at the markets today, but we will watch out for a lot of stocks going into trades tomorrow, and let's see if the markets break the losing streak and actually see some climb up. Thanks so much for joining us. Goodbye.